Please subscribe my YouTube channel and press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another updates from my YouTube channel. In the last video, we have discussed about like how to Dockerize Spring Boot with Angular CRUD API application. So now I'm going to discuss about how to deploy this full stack application in the Kubernetes cluster. So to work with the Kubernetes cluster, we need a Minikube in your local system. So once Minikube is installed in your system, you can just make sure that Minikube is running or not. So otherwise you can start it by using Minikube start. So it's going to take like a couple of seconds to start this Minikube. So once it is started, you can just check the status of Minikube status. So Minikube is running successfully in my local system. And then go to your Angular code. So this is the Angular application. So here I have to deploy this Angular application in Kubernetes cluster. So to work with this Kubernetes, we need two objects. One is deployment object, another one is service object. So first of all, what is deployment? A deployment is responsible for keeping set of pods running, and deployments are called objects. So what is pods? So pods is nothing but logical collection of container which needs to interact with each other for an application. Okay, so that is deployments in the pods. So this is the deployment.yaml file. So here we have API version. So if you want to use before 1.9.0, you can use apps v1 beta 2, but I'm going to use after 1.9.0. That is the reason I'm using apps v1. And what kind of object you are using? I'm using deployment object here and metadata. So data that helps uniquely identify that object. So that is called as a metadata. So which will have name, UID, and the namespace. So here I'm using name and spec, what state you desire for the object, which will have like selector. So the selector field defines like how the deployment finds which parts to manage. Okay, so selectors are way of exposing how to select objects based on their labels. So they are used by the user to select the set of objects. And we have replicas. So basically replicas will tells the deployment to run the three parts matching the template. So if you want to use more than three, you can define here. And template, so template will have metadata, so that metadata will have the labels information. So basically the labels are used as identifying the attributes for objects such as a pods and replication controllers. And labels are key value pairs which are attached to the pods, replication controller, and the services. So they are used as the identifying the attributes for the objects such as a pods and replication controllers. So we can use the labels for deployments and services and the nodes. And so this is the label name. So this label name should be matched with this selector name as well. Okay, so the selector will have the name, right? So this label name and the selector name should be matched. And we have a spec, so that spec will have the containers information again. So I have a container name here and I have an image name. So this image should be available in our local system. Okay, and we have to define the image pool policy. So I have defined as never. So if you want to get it from Docker repository, you can just define that always. Okay, so whenever like you will deploy the always, so it's going to pull the Docker image from the Docker repository. So but my image is not available in the Docker repository, it is available in my local repository. That is the reason I have mentioned. So this is as never. And coming to the ports, so our container port is listening on 80. Okay, so we have to create the service so that like external world can see our application. So this is the service information. So services will use to connect to the deployment objects. So services enables the network access to set of pods, and these services will select the pods based on their labels. Okay, so these services will have like API version and what kind of object it is, and which will have the metadata. So this metadata will have the name and labels information. So this label name should match it with your deployment label name. So this label name. And coming to the spec, so the spec will have the ports information. So we have three ports here. So the first one is target port. So this target port is nothing but so port number that container listening on. Our container is listening on this 80, and coming to this port 80, so I'm mapping this 80 to 80. So access the service via this port number. And finally we will put one node port, so that is 30170. So make the service available to the network request from the external clients. So finally we are going to access our service through this node port, that is 30170, and we will have the selector. So the selector will have the information, and we have a different types of services here. So we will have like cluster IP and node port and load balancer. Okay, so coming to the cluster IP, so the cluster IP gives you a service inside your cluster that other apps inside your cluster can access. So if you use the cluster IP, there is no external access. And if you use the node port, so if you use the node port, so what is the node port? So basically the node port which expose the application on a port across each of your nodes. So it will provide the access to the services to the external access. So all nodes can access our application. So there is an external access. So a node port service is the most primitive way to get external traffic directly to your service. So we will use the node port. So we will open a specific port on all of the nodes. So and any traffic that is sent to this port is forwarded to this service. Okay, this is the node port. So coming to the load balancer, so we have a load balancer. So this load balancer service is the standard way to expose the service to the internet. So if you want to use the AWS or GKE, so then you can go for the load balancer. Okay, so coming to the node port, so I'm going to use the node port. So basically a node port service is the most primitive way to get the external traffic directly to your service, right? So I'm going to access so my service in all the nodes. So that is the reason I'm using a node port here. What you have to do is you can just make sure that so this image is available in your local repository on it. Okay, so what we need to do is we can search this image docker images. So to search the particular image we can use grep angular. Okay, so this image is already available in my local repository with angular app. Okay, so I'm going to use this image now. So whatever that images are available in my docker, okay, so these images are not going to available directly to this kubernetes cluster. Okay, so we have a couple of images here. So these images won't available directly to the kubernetes cluster. So what we need to do is to available this all images to kubernetes cluster. So what we need to do is we have to run one command. So that command is eval so minikube docker environment. Okay, so what it will does is so it is so now so whatever the images are available in the docker, so those images will available directly to this kubernetes cluster. Okay, so before you are going to build the image you can just run this command. Okay, so otherwise the image will not available to this kubernetes cluster. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to uh, run this kubectl apply -f deployment.yaml. So now it's going to build first of all deployment object and after that service object. Okay, so now I'm not going to build this deployment and service objects because I need to cover this Spring Boot as well. So let me open the Spring Boot, guys. So to work with the Spring Boot, so we need like a couple of YAML files. So here I'm going to create so two deployments and two services. One is for Spring Boot, another one is for MySQL. So one deployment for the MySQL, one deployment for the my Spring Boot application. Okay, and the same thing. Okay, I'm going to creating the service one for MySQL and another one for is my Spring Boot application. Okay, here I need to discuss something here. So because to create the container for the MySQL, so we need to use some credentials. Okay, in the Kubernetes if you want to the Kubernetes, like if you want to use like some sensitive data, you can go for the secrets. Okay, so what is secrets? Basically if you want to deal with the sensitive data, then you have to go for secret. So this is how like the YAML file will look like this. So this is a secret file, guys. So what you have to do is you have to create the secret file. Inside the secret file we will have like API version and the kind of object. It is a secret object and metadata. So we will have the name of the secret and which will have data, so username and the password. So we have some base encoded data here. So how we have to create this base encoded data, so I'm going to show here. Okay, so let me clear this. So what we need to do is we have to run one command, so that is echo n. Okay, so our username is, let's say that, so test user, and so base 64 encoding, I'm going to use the base 64 encoding to encode this test user username. So let's hit enter. So it's going to, yeah, it's encoded this username. So this username I have used it here. Okay, and the same thing, so password. So if you want to use the password as well, so I'm going to use this base encoding here. So it will use this base encoded password. So this is how like you can encode your username and password inside your this secret YAML file. Okay, so and we will have like two YAML files. One is like MySQL DB credentials, another one is MySQL root credentials. So root credentials we have separate password. Okay, and so this MySQL DB credentials will have username and the password. This username and password we will use inside our application.yaml file. So open this source, main, resources, and application.yaml file. So which will have, so this username and the password. Okay, so these are the secrets, guys, for this these secrets I'm going to use for this MySQL credentials. And we need one more file, that is config map file. Okay, so first of all, like, what is config map? So config maps decouples the configuration from parts and components. So this config map store the configuration data as key value base. So if you open this MySQL config.yaml file, so which will have API version and what kind of object it is a config map object, and which will have metadata to identify this object. So we will have the name and we will have the data as well, so which will have the host and the name. So I have defined the MySQL host and MySQL database name. Okay, so this is the host name I'm going to use inside our application.properties file, uh, application.yaml file, and this is database name. I'm going to use this application.yaml file. Okay, so that is the config map, guys. So coming to this deployment.yaml file, and we will have like MySQL deployment, and we will have like Spring Boot deployment.file. So there is no confusion, guys. So inside this MySQL deployment.yaml file, so we will have the information whatever we have seen in Angular deployment.yaml file. So the same thing, so API version and the kind, so what kind of object it is a metadata, and we will have so spec, which will have the port number. So the MySQL will run on the 3306, and so which will listen on 3306, that is the target port number. So I'm going to map to 3306, same port number. So if you want to change this port number, you can change here. And selectors, so this selector will, MySQL part should contain the same labels, and we will have some selector information here. So I'm going to use the cluster IP. So cluster IP here, the type of cluster IP, and here we need to define persistent volume. So because we need to use the volume here, so we have like two different types of volumes. One is like persistent volume, and another one is persistent volumes claim. Okay, the basically the persistent volumes are generally provisioned by an administrator. So coming to this persistence volume claim, uh, is a request for a piece of storage by user. Basically here the user will request to the Kubernetes cluster. Okay, so that's what like I am requesting here by using persistence volume claim. And coming to this metadata, so we will have the metadata name, that is PVC name here, and we will have label names. So this label name should be matched with your deployment, and tyre it is, a what kind of tyre it is, either it could be a front tyre and back end tyre or database tyre. So you can specify to differentiate the types here. And we will define the spec information to access modes. So what kind of access modes do you need? So this is specify the mode of the claim, so that we are trying to create. So read and write ones. And resources, and inside this resources we will define the storage, how much storage do we need. So this will tell the Kubernetes about the amount of the space we are trying to claim here. And finally we need a deployment here. Okay, so what kind of deployment it is? So it's a what kind of object it is? It is a deployment object and it's a API version. And we will have some metadata which will have some labels name, and we will have selector information here, and we will have the image name here. So inside this spec we will have the containers information, the image name. I'm going to use this MySQL 5.7. okay, so this image is going to pull it from the Docker Hub repository. Okay, and we will have environment related properties. So this environment related properties we are going to map with our secret key, secret file and config map file. So from the secret file, so this MySQL root password we will get it from this value from the secret key reference. So uh, name of this secret is db root credentials. Okay, this is the name of the secret, and which will have key and values. Okay, so which will have the password. So the password key I have defined here. So the password value I'm going to get it from this secret file, that is db root credentials secret file, so which will have the value. And same thing we will have the user, MySQL user. So I'm going to get it the value from the secret key references db credentials, which will have the key, username and the value. So I'm going to get it from db credentials file. So same thing we will have the MySQL password. Okay, so I'm going to get it from this db credentials secret file. And here coming to MySQL database and the host name, I'm going to get it from the config map. So this MySQL database value I'm going to get it from the config map reference. Okay, so the name of the config map is dbconfig and key is name, and the value I'm going to get it from, so there, so name. Okay, database name is test. This is the value I'm going to get it from this config map.yaml file. Okay, so this is very pretty straightforward guys. Okay, there is no confusion. And the ports, coming to the ports, you can define your container port. So 3306, and so name is MySQL and volume mount. So we have created the PVC climb, right? So we are going to mounting this volume obtained from the persistence volume claim here, and name of this PVC is this one, MySQL persistent storage. So the path we will define here, so where lib and MySQL. So this is the path, the container on which the mounting will be taking place. So here we are going to store this data. And coming to the volumes, so the name of the PVC we will define here, and persistence volume claim name, so MySQL PV claim. Okay, so that's it guys. So this is a MySQL deployment.yaml file. So the difference between our Angular deployment.yaml file and this MySQL deployment.yaml file is we will have the extra layer, that is persistent volume claim, to store our data, and we will have our environment variables, okay, to authenticate our MySQL database. And we will have the deployment.yaml file for this Spring Boot application. We have to create the Spring Boot container as well, right? So for this we need to create one more deployment.yaml file, so which will have same thing, like we will have like deployment object and a service object for this Spring Boot application. So this is a service object. So what kind of object it is? It is service object and API version and the metadata and the ports number. So the target port number, the application container is listening on 8080. So I'm going to map to 8080. Okay, and from there, so we have to define the node port number. So this will be provide the access to the external services. So that is 30163. This is the final port number that I am going to access this Spring Boot service through this port number. And the selector, so Spring Boot gets MySQL, okay, and this is a node port. So basically a node port is a service, the most primitive way to get the external traffic directly to your service. And so coming to the deployment, so we will have same thing. So whatever the deployment data we will have for the Angular deployment at YAML file, the same information will be available. So the only difference is we will have the environment variables here. So the same thing, the environment variables, the DB host name and the database name, we are going to get it from the config map, and DB username and the DB passwords, we are going to get it from the secret files. Okay, so those file names we have to map here. So we can just make sure that so those file names are matched or not. Okay, and finally what we need to do is we have to, okay, we have to configure this DB host and DB name and DB username and the DB password in our application.yaml file. Okay, so yeah, so this is YAML file. So these names should be matched with that deployment.yaml file environment variable names. Okay, so otherwise it will throw errors. So you can just make sure that so these names are correct or not. Okay, so it's pretty straightforward, guys. There is no confusion. Okay, now so we have to create Docker image. Okay, so let me check. So I'm going to run this command minikube docker environment to get all the images for this Kubernetes cluster. Okay, so now I'm going to create the image. So docker build team. So our image name is, so we have defined our image name here, right? So you can get it from there. So this is our image name. Okay, so this is the image name. So okay, basically docker file is not available there, so the docker file is available here. Okay, so now I'm going to run the command to build the image. Okay, so now it's going to create the docker image. So now docker image is ready. Now I'm going to create this deployment objects and this secret files and config map files. So first the order is, so first of all, like we have to create the secret files. Okay, we have to create the secrets, and after that we have to create the config map object, and after that we have to create the deployments and the service objects. So this is the flow, guys, because each and every object is depend on deployment and the service object. These secrets and config maps all depends on this deployment object and the service object. That is the reason we have to create first so this secrets. Okay, so the command is kubectl, so apply -f. So our file is mysql, so db, so root credentials. Okay, so it's going to create the secrets. So now we need to create one more secret, guys, so that is mysql db credentials. Okay, so you can just check this by using kubectl get secrets. So we have two secrets are created here. See this? Okay, the type is opaque. So let's clear this console. Now I'm going to create one more object, that is mysql config map object. Okay, mysql config map object. Okay, it's been created. So kubectl get config map to check this. So you can check like this, kubectl get config map. So this is the config map that has been created. So let me clear this console. So now secrets and the config map has been created. Now I'm going to create the deployment for this MySQL. Okay, so you can run this MySQL so deployment. So it's going to create the container for this MySQL. So one is for deployment. So kubectl get deployments. Okay, so this is the deployment object MySQL it is created, and one more thing is services. It has to be create the service as well. So this is MySQL service. It is also created, and one more thing is it has to create the persistence volume claim, so that is requested by the user. Okay, get PVC. So this is the persistent volume created by this one. Okay, now finally we have to check the parts. So how many parts it has been created, to check the logs of this kubectl. So we will check like this, mysql logs -f. So this is the pod name, so check the logs like this. Okay, you can check the logs here. And now, so we have to create the object for this spring boot application as well, right? So kubectl, so apply, so -f, so deployment.yaml file. Okay, so now it's going to create deployments and services for this spring boot application as well. Okay, so deployment has been created for the spring boot application, and so check for the service as well. So it's created service as well. And so check the pods, kubectl get pods. So here 3 pods are created because we have defined 3 replicas here. So that is the reason it has created 3 replicas. Okay, so now what we need to do is, so we have to um, run this service. So that is like spring boot application. What we need to do is, um, we have a command. So what we need to do is, we can kubectl get services and minikube and the service name is this one, right? So to get the application URL, you can just run this. Okay, so this is application URL. Okay, so this is the IP and the port number, so that is node port number is 3016. So on this URL this application is running. Okay, so it's going to start this application. Okay, and so we need to integrate with this Angular application, right? So I have just started deployment object and the service object for this spring boot application, but what about the Angular? So we haven't started any Angular application, right? Okay, so we have to do few modification Angular code here. Okay, so let me copy this URL. So what we need to do is, so our service, so our service is employee service. Let me open the service, guys. So this is the employee service. So this is the base URL. Let me minimize this. Okay, this is the base URL. So this base URL we are getting from the environment. So this is the base URL. Okay, so which is running on localhost 8080. But so while you are running on the Kubernetes, so it won't run on localhost, right? So you have to change this base URL. So what you can do is, you can just run base URL. Okay, so that you can just comment out this. Let's save this. Okay, so this is the base URL that we have modified, and we have nginx configuration inside this default configuration. So here as well we have localhost 8080. So this number also we need to change here. Okay, so here, so instead of localhost, you can just define the IP. So that's it, guys. You can just save this, and once you have saved these changes, now we have to create the Docker image here. So let me create this console. So Docker images. So I'm going to, so Docker build tag name is Angular app. Okay, so now it's going to create the Docker image with our changes. So now the image is built successfully. So let me clear the console, guys. So let me check the Docker image. is created successfully now. So what we need to do is we have to create the deployment and the service objects for this Angular application. Okay, so let me clear this. So by using kubectl, so apply -f deployment.yml file. So I'm going to create the deployment as well as service objects for this application. So let me check kubectl get so deployments. Okay, it's created the deployments, so that is 3 replicas, and kubectl get services. So service also is created for the Angular application. So let me clear the console. So let me check the pods kubectl get pods. Okay, so these are the pods is running. So Angular pods also is running successfully. So let me clear the console. So kubectl get services. Okay, now kubectl, so we have a Angular service here. Okay, to run this application we have so minikube and service, and if you define your Angular service here, so it's going to start our application, and also it is going to provide the information about our Angular application. So this is the link. Okay, so and the port number that application is running on. Okay, so that is this URL and this is the port number. So this is the application. So we have add employee. So let me test this, guys. So let me give some data, and yeah, so some phone number, random phone number, and give some department, and just submit this and test whether it's working or not. Okay, yeah, so the data has been added successfully, so it's working fine, guys. So let me edit the details. Okay, yeah, so this is how like you can deploy your Spring Boot with Angular application into the Kubernetes cluster. So that is like full stack application and the Kubernetes cluster. Okay, so if you guys like have like any difficulties while implementing this application, you can just let me know in the comment section. I will try to help you. So if you like this video, so please go ahead and like this video, and if you haven't subscribed my YouTube channel, so you can just go ahead and subscribe my YouTube channel. Okay, thanks for watching.